Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I'm coming to you today with my Week 4 PMC Team Builder D-League action. Our opponent this week is really scary. His name is Kyle, coach of the Mesquite Mesprits. Not that Kyle is scary. Kyle actually seems like a really cool dude. His team, though, is hella scary. Let's quickly go over it. He's got Mega Metagross, Conkeldurr, Latios, Togekiss, Honchkrow, Roserade, Flygon, Exploud, Rampardos, Masquerain, and Electrode. I'm going to try and do this a little bit more quickly than I usually do because it is kind of late, and I know that long team builders are kind of boring. So he has a lot of huge threats. He's got a lot of really powerful physical attackers with like Metagross, Conkeldurr, Honchkrow. Honchkrow actually is really terrifying because it can be mixed, and my normal walls for it, like Skarmory and stuff, are completely destroyed by mixed sets. And he has Latios, which is amazing, Exploud, which is amazing, Roserade, Togekiss, really good, are kind of like support attackers. They can be, some sort of more defensive spreads, but can also be really powerful with like Scarf for specs and stuff like that. It's got Flygon, which is very versatile. So there's no way we're going to out-offense his offense. So what do you do when you can't out-offense another person's offense? That's right, you bring stall. We had some success with a emergency stall strategy last week. Maybe it's arguable whether we should have still lost or not, but in any case, we are embracing it full force this week. This is actually really close to like ABR stall. If you're familiar with that team in OU, it starts off with a choice banded Weavile on the actual OU team, but we have to do our best impersonation of that with a Sneasel, Knockoff Pursuit, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard. His only resist to Icicle Crash is Metagross, which obviously does not really appreciate the Dark type moves. We have some good answers to Metagross otherwise. Excuse me, sorry I've been coughing so much like the past month, guys. You must think I'm like some sort of chain smoker, but I've just been having some like inflammation issues in my respiratory system. I know that that's like TMI, but whatever. Sneasel really does obliterate his team. It's a great answer for Roserade, for Honchkrow, for Togekiss, for Latios, for Flygon, and stuff like that. It's really dirty. I'll have to be aware of things like Colpa Berry and Yachi Berry. He has shown that he's capable of bringing those sorts of items on his Pokemon. But anyway, Sneasel is here to just punch through things. We also have a Calm Mind Mega Sableye, fairly standard spread. We have a little bit of speed investment on this thing, which is really funny. If we get off a Thunder Wave with another one of our Pokemon on the Metagross, this actually outspeeds, as ridiculous as that seems. But yeah, just a pretty normal set. He doesn't have very great Ghost resist on his team. He doesn't have great Dark resist either, but I decided that I wanted the Shadow Ball over the Dark Pulse just for like Togekiss. We don't really want to be setting up on a Togekiss anyway, but that's why I chose that over Dark Pulse, is really just for Togekiss. It's true that Exploud is going to be immune to this Sableye set, but we're not going to be setting up turn 1. We're going to be setting up when the conditions are appropriate. And it's nice because Sableye just really is good against his team. His most powerful physical attackers, Metagross and Conkeldurr, don't really deal with Sableye all that well. If I get a Will-O-Wisp off on the Conkeldurr, it can do a little more damage, but I'm obviously aware of the fact that thing gets guts, so I'm not going to click Will-O-Wisp in the obvious situations. I'm going to be able to play around that a lot better than that. But it's tough because he does, so they have, those two Pokemon I think have bad matchup against Sableye, but he has to bring those Pokemon anyway. He has to bring Conk because of the potential to intercept a Will-O-Wisp, but it doesn't really do well against the rest of my team. And Metagross has to be there because it's the only Ice resist that he has, but again, it just doesn't do well versus Sableye. So I think in a way I've got a good matchup there, but that's just in theory. In practice, especially against offense, you just never know when they're going to land a crit or something like that. That's really the worst part about stall. You're just very susceptible to hacks. I know people always think that stall likes to embrace the hacks, but I don't think that that's really true. Next up, we've got a Rocky Helmet Skarmory, Stealth Rock Spikes, Roost, and Counter. This thing definitely can it can kill Metagross and it can kill Conkeldurr with a counter after the Rocky Helmet damage if they go for something like Fire Punch or Thunder Punch. I was thinking about running Wakan Berry on this instead, but we tank those hits very well. Even like a banded Adamant Conkeldurr does like 60% max with Thunder Punch, unless my calcs are just really horribly wrong. We have a Relaxed Nature, which is kind of goofy, but I wanted to be able to outslow the Conkeldurr. I could have run 0 speed IVs to make it even slower, but we hit 67 speed with 0 IVs, and Conkeldurr's base is 65. The reason I want to outslow it is because I don't want him to be able to Drain Punch as I Roost and get off a huge hit with Drain Punch, get a ton of HP back and stuff like that. He has shown in his past games that he's willing to speed creep or invest some speed into his Conkeldurr, so that kind of is good for us anyway. He might try and outspeed this thing or outspeed another Pokemon on my team, like Seismitoad or something like that. As you notice, we're not running any attacks on this thing. That's definitely a big risk, especially if we bring something like Power Up Punch Metagross or Bulk Up Conkeldurr. That's a risk that I'm going to have to take, to be honest, because I don't know, I just don't have a way of dealing with his team otherwise. And I really wanted to bring both Hazards, Stealth Rock and Spikes. And we might find ourselves in a situation where we just lead off with this thing turn 1 and get up as many layers as we can. I could have brought like Seismitoad for rocks and other stuff, but I just didn't think that Seismitoad was super good in this matchup because its grass weakness is so exploitable. So we'll see. I do like this set, and I think it's going to be very annoying for him to deal with. Then we've got Crest Jr. with Colbur Berry, Psychic, Dazzling Gleam, Moonlight, Thunder Wave, fully physically defensive. This also can deal relatively well with Metagross and Conkeldurr. Well, let me say this: it can wall them. It can respond to Conkeldurr, and it can also respond to Honchkrow relatively well. But obviously, it doesn't have an attack to deal with Metagross. But we can Thunder Wave it, and crippling that thing is going to be really awesome. Because then we can come in with like Andre and take it out, or with Sableye and we can stall on it, and that'll be really great. This thing, it doesn't really kill anything. It's just there to weaken stuff and to cripple stuff. Like Dazzling Gleam does like 75% to Honchkrow, and Psychic does like 60 or 70% to Conkeldurr. So I think it's worth it to bring this Pokemon over other members of my team, like that Seismitoad that I was mentioning. I don't think it's going to get like any kills this week. I'm really not expecting it to, but that's not what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to come in and be annoying to a Pokemon and get off a Thunder Wave, and then maybe you can Moonlight and get back up some HP and stuff like that. We do have a specially defensive Jirachi, Wish, Protect, Iron Head, U-Turn. U-Turn just for momentum, Iron Head because it's a good move, and if we can Thunder Wave some things, we can Paraflinch potentially in the end game. Wish so we can take a Draco Meteor and get back up to a good amount of HP. Protect to, help us boost our HP with that Wish. And we can also Wish Pass into things like Skarmory and Emboar and other stuff as needed. It's a pretty filthy strategy, not gonna lie. But this is here, for the Latios, for the Togekiss, and for the Roserade. Roserade is still kind of a threat, because Technician, Hidden Power Fire can still 2-hit KO us. We're not 2-hit KO'd by the fire coverage from Togekiss or Latios, I guess, unless they're specs or something, which is certainly possible. We're gonna have to scout that out as we go along. But that's the Garth, the Jirachi set. And last but not least, we have Assault Vest Emboar with almost full special defense investment. We put some speed investment just to outspeed a speed creeping Conkeldurr. This is actually a very good counter to Togekiss, Roserade, and Exploud. We can tank one move from any of those Pokemon and then Oko back with our coverage move, depending upon, you know, how bulky or offensive they are or whatever. And if we don't Oko, we've got a good chance to take them out with Sucker Punch on the following turn. Embor, I was really thinking about not breaking this week because it's just not very good. You know, it's a wall breaker, and wall breakers aren't good against hyper offense because there's no walls to break. There's just a bunch of stuff that outspeeds you on your opponent's team. It's basically how it works. But I thought this set would be pretty fun. Flare Blitz Head Smash Superpower is very good versus those 3 Pokemon that I mentioned. Roserade, Togekiss, and Exploud. And Sucker Punch is just nice as a last-ditch maneuver for Metagross or for Latios or something like that. So that is the team, you guys. If I manage to win this game, I can only imagine how salty Kyle is going to be. While I'm tempted to apologize, the fact of the matter is this is a competitive league, and you've got to do what you got to do to win. It might not be a lot of fun to watch, but I do think that it's fun to play. Because you have to be very, I don't know, people always say like, oh, stall, it's so mindless, but I don't think that's really true. But anyway, I'm just trying to rationalize being a scumbag, I guess is what it really comes down to. So, thank you guys for watching. The battle is going to go up tomorrow, of course, so please be sure to check back and watch that on my channel. Please be sure to check back for other Pokemon content, and until the next time, I will see you all later.